So you mentioned about the structure you are making in the club and things, but the thing, whatever you are doing is not visible, and whatever is visible is having mistakes. In the sense, like, there is spelling mistakes in the post. That is what Abhijit is said, like the small mistakes. So even that small mistakes, like, so who is responsible for that? Why can't they just check the mistakes in the spellings?
Ajay, it is called a mistake because it is a mistake. There is no
But if
intention.
it is
There
repeat,
is
but
no
if it is
intention. How many times have you seen that happen at Kerala Blasters?
On the jersey, we've seen once, but on social media, a couple of times, yes. Just in the
No,
last
no,
few
not
months.
social media. I'm saying this jersey spelling mistake. How many times have you seen it?
No, not of the jersey. I'm talking about this post, actually, the social media, which is what fans are saying.
Sure.
So you
100%.
so
No. I'm not. All your social media feedback, guys, is taken in board. We are already doing some. I won't say changes, but there are some conversations. There are certain things that we're doing behind the scenes to improve, right? So I'm not debating any of the feedback. I can give you my justifications for it, but there's no point because it's you would have a view, I would have a view, but I do agree at the end of the day we should do a better job in understanding, representing fan sentiment. Where I feel we have a lot of catching up to do, I take that responsibility. So I'm agreeing to that, and we'll try and improve. But the jersey spelling thing, I'll be an adamant man on and say it's only happened once, at least when I have been here, and it's a very rare thing to happen. And it's an honest mistake, is what I'm trying to say. So sometimes I know you've come, there's a big laundry list of things, but it's something which is excusable, I feel. Not that it should happen, but it's not something that happens every day, and it is done by one of our most honest employees. So somebody who's been at this club is a local, feels and bleeds for this club. So you need to give people an opportunity to if they've made a mistake, an opportunity to also make sure it doesn't happen again. And I just showed you an example that it happens at the top clubs in the world, right? So it is honest. Nobody's done it on purpose. It's just a thing that they missed. Obviously, since that happened, everybody's double checking it, right? But it's something that's happened, and now you can't go back and change it. But I feel it's the smallest thing in terms of every other thing that you guys have written. I think possibly that is the most what do you call it, ignorable mistake, I would say.
We'll come back to Google. His hand was raised.
Hello. Hey. So I believe you answered partially the question I wanted to ask with Abhijit. So Abhi, on last meeting, FAB meeting, you did mention that this is a survival season, right? That we are going to right now. Wanted to ask, what was the, let's say, club's targets and or goals this season in terms of performance wise, or how we stand in the league, as well as fan support or fan engagement perspective. I would like to hear from you that what club actually planned, and also you can mention that how far are you away, right? And we clearly see the gap, but wanted to hear from you what were the initial planning perspective, and then how far is away. Thank you.
Obviously the thing was to survive, but I don't think our plan was to survive in this manner, for sure. There is a big gap in what we expected and what the outcome is, for sure. Fan engagement, it's two sides of the coin, like I said, and like you guys have put, right, some of the weaknesses or some of the mistakes which I have done, and there are points in that, and one of them is the communication, right? So obviously, when you make a communication like that, you're not doing it to gain any sympathy. You're doing it to make the fan base aware of how serious a situation particularly is. But I feel here it can be, and I have had this conversation with Ajay many times, right? And there is always this thing wherein, no, we should never say we are aiming for this. We should always say we are aiming for the title, or we are aiming to win, or we are aiming to be the best. That's when you'll sort of set the benchmark, right? But at the cost of being honest, we knew it was going to be a difficult task. We were not under any illusions that it would be a cakewalk, but to say that this is where we would be, I don't think anybody here has any illusions about the fact that it is far from where we want to be. So the plan was for this to be a transitional season, if I have to spell it out, for this to be a transitional season so that we are in it for the long run on the other side, so that we can almost do a reset, partial reset this year, and a full reset next year when the new structure and the new economic realities of Indian football completely emerge, to shed a bit of fat, to understand, because the economic realities of Indian football will be different. So if there is some weight that we need to shed in terms of finances, players, etc., to be in a much better position outside of this year. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but to be in a better position where it is easier to reset and redevelop, right? If you're going from this transitional season into next season in an almost similar shape, it becomes really difficult to refresh and adapt to what the new realities, economic realities of Indian football would be, right? We don't know what sort of salaries will be paid in this new economic reality. We don't know what the new budgets for clubs would be now that revenue is off the table completely, right? For clubs, TV money is off the table. You can plug one season of it, but you cannot do it for the next 20 years, right? Every club would have an issue. So we wanted to be best placed when we come out on the other side. That was the plan. But they definitely was not the plan to be, one place off bottom, trying to survive. That was not the plan. And that I feel is there is a gap in terms of what we envisioned and what is the outcome. But we were under no illusions that it was going to be tough, and we used the word survival for this method, for this very reason, basically.
One thing, so I just want to jump in. So one thing I would like to ask you about is so you said the reason you underestimated the league or the competition or the other clubs. Did you the club think okay, we can achieve the position with this? I'm not saying of the players or something, but with this group of players, is that what the mistakes happened? Did we underestimated the league, because of the uncertainty? And about the future, we don't know what happens with the future. With this situation, what went wrong? Is that underestimation or what? You just want to ask.
No, that Callis, you want to jump in? From my side, I'll add more, but I think Callis can take the lead on that. Yeah.
Yes. So guys, thanks first of all. Good to see you all, and thanks for sharing your thoughts. To say simply, I think all the change happened of everything, and all these discussions about season, one player or another player or this or that was over in month of June, I guess, where this AFF and Reliance future relations become unclear, and at that moment everything changed completely. So we can discuss about last season. I would like also jump in actually about last question about this responsibility. Also, I was never hiding from mistakes. I admitted things which I had to admit from last season. It was a couple of cases which I could do personally better. That's true. But in this case also, I don't see any reason to hide my face or to hide. I can explain any decision in any situation. So now, wait, sorry, my mind's jumping. What should I tell you now? Tell me question by question. I'm sure it will be a few.
I was asking about whether you the club underestimated the league because of that uncertainty, because other clubs are doing better. And if you have, so as CEO said, we were going for the survival, and there should be some level you thought about to reach, to end of the season, maybe the mid-table or something.
Understood the question. So look, first of all, I told everything in the first press conference, which we had just before season. Also, it was a couple of questions about players. I told the truth. I told it. So all this now irrelevant. It's about survival at this moment. His situation is like that. Reality is like that. And I also expressed the appreciation to all the people, all the players to doing sacrifices and so on. So that was very clear from beginning. So maybe this communication, I didn't see this nowhere in media actually, so I don't know why. But it was very, very clearly mentioned that it's I mean, I at that moment also I was not in position to speak something about targets. You happy with squad or not? I told very clearly just before season what reality is at this moment. And no, we not underestimated the league. We simply was not in position to think about others, to think about what more we can do. We was in position to survive, literally. So there are limitations on what I can say about from some contracts, personal contracts with the players. There are this clauses about being confidential, so I cannot say clearly, but you could not believe maybe on what conditions we had to brought players this year. So you also don't think I got crazy during one night and thought, okay, let's release everyone after Super Cup just because it's fun. It was not like that. It was a good team, and I'm sure with that team at this moment we would be somewhere very high in the table and having good times. But that's reality. We could not afford. We could not do it. That's reality. Simply reality. Like TV revenue from huge amounts became zero. Season from 10 months normal season became 2 months tournament. Imagine how it affects all the sponsorship money. Finished. There are nothing. No revenues. Nothing. So what we speaking about. So speaking about survival, we mean survival. So in this case, we tried to do impossible and to bring someone who maybe can help. It was a fact that someone will help, someone will not. I'm speaking about foreign players. So exactly this happens: someone helping, someone not. But knowing on all the circumstances, I think it's still okay. They're here. So that's the situation. We didn't think about others. We didn't think about league. We thought how to survive. That's the reality.
But I would like to ask you, like, so the what things you mentioned about the communication, or like not the money thing, like the revenue stuff. So it is same for other clubs as well. They don't even have the fans to fill the stadium, no. So we have at least have the fans. And if you compare with other clubs like I'm not saying Mumbai or like some Odisha or something, they are paying better. And like I never seen any other club saying about the uncertainty or the money stuff or something like that as the reason for the performance. Like we never heard about. I don't know. I'm saying I've never seen any other club saying
Look,
about
okay,
this is the reason.
Understood. Look, let's not mix two things. I'm not saying performance is good and performance is up to the mark. That's topic which we jump later. How other clubs are collecting their budgets, from where they getting money, how much they getting money, we don't know. We don't care. We don't have control of this, and we don't have knowledge of this. Somehow they get money. We don't know. It's not our business. We don't have time to care about this. I'm sure there are clubs who getting, even from cities, support or direct financial or through infrastructure or somehow. So this thing I cannot comment how others getting money. It's really I cannot comment, but I can comment the fact that TV central revenue became zero from solid amounts, and sponsorships. Abhi can comment maybe better, but also reduced. In insane numbers. It's finished. It's no revenue. So that's the reality. And now about results. Obviously, it's not up to the mark. Obviously, it's crazy. I remember we had a meeting. I think it was after 1 or 2 games, and one common question was about, or in this meeting or against Manjapada, but you guys were saying that we just want players to fight, and at that moment I was defending, yes, but they're fighting. So first 2 games they actually fought. Later, we also have something to say to them, and doing that, which was absolutely crazy. Some games, like we can switch on now and watch Punjab game, first half. Nobody wanted to play. Nobody played. They didn't want. They didn't do. So that's a reality. Yes, we solving these things. We speaking. We looking for reasons, but they didn't play, and that's why we lost in pathetic way. So I am not saying performance is good. Same time, looking at individual qualities, what we have, no one will prove me that we're supposed to be anywhere near 10th position even. We should be a little bit higher. I'm not also saying, there are better teams than us this season, not one, not two, not three, not four. There are more better teams. But still, we should be competitive. We should collect points. We should get clean sheets. We should fight. We should do better. That's 100%. And also, I note for myself where you was criticizing players also, like saying who in your presentation. I mean, so don't hide names. Why to hide names? Nothing to hide. Tell to them. It's at the end these 11 guys going in the pitch against Punjab and looking like that, and I mean, they'll agree with me. It's their responsibility. How they look on the pitch is their responsibility at them. If they don't do basic things, which they must do. So there are, and after such games, also difficult to knowing everything what happened, how difficult it was for everyone. It's painful to see. It's painful to see, truly. So I'm not defending performance anyhow. I defending effort in first and second game. It was still okay. Third and fourth game by effort at least. Chennai we should not lose. But there was different problems also for same reason. For example, at that immediately after second game we signed Falou because we saw that some players not up to the mark. So we and Falou earlier on conditions we could offer. Falou earlier was not coming. Simple as that. We would happily have him before. So I really also appreciate his efforts and it, as you rightly mentioned, I would like to agree also that you rightly mentioned that he also captain material, for future. So would be nice to have more people like that.
Just
Thank you,
Carol,
guys.
sorry.
Two questions. So I would like to ask this when you said. So
Sure.
one thing is about the players, why I hide the names, because I was not criticizing the players, but who brought them in and signed them in and retained them. So that was the one thing we were focusing on, like who was signing him. So we are telling that the players are not playing. Who signed them? Who is retaining them? Who gave them the long contract?
I send them. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is the accountability which we would like to hear from you. Second thing is about the revenue. There is no other, as you said, we don't want to take other clubs' name. But in the last meeting, Nikhil said so I asked about the root cause of this issue, about whether it is a budget or something. So he said it can be a budget. It's not a black and white answer. But if we have issues with the finance and things, how can we move forward? What changes can we see here? If the management or if the owners are having issues, if it is a financial one, how can we move forward? How can we expect a change? How can we see the improvement? If we don't give the money to the players, how can we bring in better players?